Senator Basham worked with us, and we were trying to pass what was called Stephanie's Law, that at a state level would provide the police officers with a statutory language that would allow for a prosecution on narcotics trafficking and human trafficking. And Stephanie falls into that, both of those categories, because of the trafficking with the narcotics with DeLeon, and then the club themselves, and the sex trafficking, because they brought her in under 17 years of age, which on the federal level and the state level, you don't need to prove fraud, force, or coercion. So in any event, and then we had Representative Pavlov, which passed the original narcotics trafficking causing death bill, as well as the human trafficking causing death bill back in 2006. So they were there with us for the event in the Lansing Capitol, and then they introduced the family and everybody on the House and Senate floor. We've been working with them ever since to update and upgrade the statutory language. And then the very next one was in 2010. I actually went to Washington, D.C. and met with Secretary Solis, Department of Labor, to discuss some of the issues with adult entertainment that, because being hired underage, I mean, of course, we're violation of the Human Trafficking Act, Labor Act, and so on and so forth, no one under age of 18. And in some instances, it's 21, depends on, you know, whether they serve liquor or not. And then just last year, I was out for a conference in California, in Fresno, at a Christian college. And of course, then I'm here this year. And like I said, I post a lot of information. Sometimes I post maybe 40, 50, 60 million friends through different sources, the media on Facebook and LinkedIn and a number of other sources that I have, where I submit things to the president, the White House, Congress, NSA, CIA, FBI, Department of Labor, all of your departments, Department of Treasury, because everybody's getting on board now. It's taken a number of years, but you'll notice in the last 2 or 3 years, it is all over the media. And right now, it's what they call, for a court case, it's ripe to contact your senators, legislators, representatives, and just voice your opinion. Because these children out here, you know, they're your family, they're my family, all these kids. And a lot of times what happens is they have no clue what they're getting themselves into, but as was talked about earlier, a lot of times without a job or without any kind of means, a lot of times the kids, being as young as they are, they really don't know, but it just sounds like this is such a deal. If I can make $200-300 for doing something simple as this, and everybody's guaranteeing that I'll be fine, I'll be safe, and they have no street smarts, they really don't know what's going on. It's just like the young kids dealing narcotics. I mean, you know, there's no work for them, and they're offered good money to go deal in narcotics, and the next thing you know, they're caught up in this and they have no way out. If you try to get out of this business, you'll end up in a dumpster, you'll end up, you know, in someone else's back alley someplace, or trapped across the country somewhere without nowhere to turn. And the kids they're so scared to death. So many of the girls that I've interviewed for some of the cases that I've worked in adult entertainment, they'll tell you that they would not put on the record, they would not testify. They're in fear of their own life as well as the family members. And I do know other individuals that, in some of the cases in Wayne County that I've been involved in, have ended up deceased. Either given a hot shot or found in a burn-up trunk somewhere. I mean, a couple of the girls, I actually have a few ongoing open cases with one of the club owners that was involved with Mooka, I don't know if everybody's, yeah. Very dangerous character. In any event, I've testified quite a few times in federal court on some of these cases and tried to help with the prosecution. I work with a lot of legislators around the country trying to update their human trafficking, narcotics, statutory language, and so on and so forth. One of the things that I did a couple years ago is I started another nonprofit organization. It's called AICASH. It's the Adult Entertainment Coalition for Occupational Safety and Health. There's a lot of this through OSHA around the country. They're called COSH groups, and they're interested, and their mission is always for the health and safety of employees, period. So our intent with the ECOSH was in the adult entertainment industry. These girls, they're what's considered subcontractors, independent contractors, which the club owners sort of have manipulated the law so that they get away with not having to pay any employment tax or so on and so forth. And so what we've done is we've actually initiated a number of cases around the country where the girls actually, excuse me, have sued in federal courts under false claims. Excuse me, I smoke a lot, part of the nature of my job, I guess. Along with probably 4 or 5 dozen cups of pots of coffee a day. But because of the fact that they were classified as independent contractors, they have no benefits, they have no security, safety, they get hurt on the job, it's their fault, it's their problem. So what we're trying to do is help a lot of the classification changeover, if you will, in the adult entertainment, so that the girls do have insurance, so they do have benefits, so they do have some kind of safety net. Otherwise, they're just as vulnerable, and that's where another one of the problems is. When you're vulnerable, people take advantage of you. So if we can get the law behind them. Now, all of a sudden, 2 years ago, what's called ACE International, they're the adult entertainment club owners, the executives. They now also have a human trafficking awareness program called COAST. And they go through and they try to train the club owners and the dancers to recognize other girls that are underage, that are being trafficked, because this is happening all around through the clubs. A lot of the girls they bring in from other countries. We just had another big, huge case in Detroit where I believe he was Ukrainian, and I can't remember his name. But Sidi Baca, Ambassador Sidi Baca, who works from the State Department as an ambassador to the United Nations, prosecuted that case. He's had a couple of other cases around the country. Him and I have talked on a number of occasions about some of the UN recommendations and the Human Rights Declaration for other countries and so on and so forth. So I guess, and if anybody wants to sign the quilt, you know, please do. I mean, I've taken this all, like I said, around the country, and the spirits from all those children is what carries me. I mean, because I don't want to see this to happen to anybody else's children. I don't care whether we're here in this country or any other country, and it happens everywhere. People just don't know about it. They try to keep this stuff so quiet, so hush. That's like with the club owners, this COAST program. I actually think that this is nothing but a ruse. You know, something to convince everybody that they're engaged. Because the club owners know. I mean, they bring these people in there, you know, it's just so... I really can't think of anything else at the moment.